What up, guys? It's Satch. Today I'm going to be talking about how to learn any and every balisong trick easily. And guys, the most important thing in learning any and every balisong trick is believing you can. Because honestly, a lot of people will get into this hobby, me included, and you'll see a trick or you'll see a combo and you'll think, no way I can do that. You'll think, nah, it's just not for me. Maybe after I've been flipping for a year, I can finally start learning something like that. And of course, there's some cases where, it might be true. You need to know how to do your first rollover before you can do some other moves. That's pretty basic. But I would say once you get to the point where you know how to do a rollover, the only thing stopping you from learning a move is yourself. It's choosing what you want to learn and then learning it. Because for a lot of moves, you really just need to spend some time, figure out how to do it, and then practice it. And if you put time in and practice it, you will be able to do it. And I know it might come off as a little, being very overly positive, kind of a little fake, but I'm really trying to tell you guys, it is not at all. I've really only been flipping for 6 months, actually a little less than 6 months. I think like 5 months. I started in September. So yeah, like 5 months. And there's a lot of stuff where it's just like, if you just pick a move that you like and practice it until you get it, you drop the knife as many times as it takes, you will get it. And, sometimes you can be your own biggest enemy. And that's not to say you will get every single move. Of course, some moves are harder than others, and some moves will take you more time, and some moves will cause you more trouble, and you'll find yourself really, struggling on certain moves. I'm not trying to say every single move is easy, but not only do you have to believe in yourself, you have to know, because I know, and you should know, that you can do every single move. It's a kind of a very common beginner trope to be like, oh, if I practice this, I'm going to lose a finger, or I shouldn't even try this. And guys, maybe there are some, things that you might want to do. Like, if you're thinking about skydiving, maybe don't go skydiving your first time without someone helping you out on it. But when it comes to balisong tricks, especially with trainers and tape and all this stuff, give it a shot, spend some time practicing it, struggle with it. Because the thing about learning balisong tricks and advanced balisong tricks is the main thing stopping you, aside from yourself, as we kind of already mentioned, is finger strength. And that's because finger strength is a huge component in balisong flipping that is just not really brought up enough. And, when you start off, you likely aren't going to have the finger strength and the finger dexterity to do moves that involve your, most of your fingers, honestly. It might be hard for you to, oh my God, it shows what I practice. It might be hard for you to do a basic twirl or something like that. And until you start practicing those moves and building up that finger strength, you're not going to be able to do it until you start practicing. So my biggest advice for you guys, if you want to learn a move, if you see a move and you think it's cool and you've been flipping for a little bit, give that move a shot. It can be easy to tell ourselves that a move is too hard, or we think, oh, let me give it a shot, and you try it, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 times even, and it isn't working out, and you think, it was just too hard for me. I'm just not good enough to do it. But the thing that really separates someone who learns the hard moves fast and the person who puts off learning hard moves until they feel like they're ready is the person who spends the time to fail at those hard moves as many times as they possibly can, to the point that it might seem absurd. I mean, And the first move that kind of really hit me with this was the behind the eight ball. Now, I definitely started learning the behind the eight ball a little late compared to the average flipper. I know a lot of people go into the behind the eight ball and the helix as, moves very quickly that they go into. But for me, I spent a lot of time going through, really dumb beginner moves. Like if you've ever seen Big Flips' beginner playlist, a lot of his like beginner moves you will never use. They are completely useless. However, all those moves helped me build up a lot of finger strength. And then after that, it didn't really help that much for the behind the eight ball. When I tell you guys, I practiced, show off my behind the eight ball. I'm so proud of this. And I'm still unbelievable. But when I'm telling you guys, I practiced this move over 1,000 times. I can say that without hyperbole. I can say that with complete honesty, with complete knowledge of myself and the time that I've put into flipping. I have done this 1,000 times, at least. I probably did this. I remember there was a period when I first was learning to do it. I probably did behind the eight ball 300 times over 1 to 3 days, probably 2 or 3 days, more accurately. And what I'm really doing that is to say it was a move that kind of looked hard. It kind of looked impossible at the beginning. How do you get your thumb in the right location and all those things? But when you really just start going at it and you just practice and you fail it and you fail it and you fail it and you get frustrated. I mean, and trust me, guys, I am not perfect. I got so frustrated. I remember when I was learning the behind the eight ball, I was reaching a point where I would mess up on this part. I wouldn't get it going in the right way. And I got furious. I remember throwing my balisong at the couch that I was at. And I would get so mad that when I did the final catch here, I would literally like slam the balisong into my fingers and like caused damage just because I was so like furious that I couldn't get it smoothly. Like it felt like there was something wrong with the knife. I was like, what is wrong? But I kept going with it. And now, I mean, the behind the eight ball is the move that I'll pull out on any balisong, on any knife, just because I know no matter what, I can hit it. And keeping that mindset and that idea has allowed me to learn kind of whatever move I want to. Of course, I'm not the best flipper yet, especially when it comes to longer flow and stuff, and especially when it comes to flipping on camera above everything. But spending a lot of time and just really, drilling the moves that seem hard, that seem impossible, is what is going to get you to be able to do them. And believing that you can do them in the first place to the point where you spend the time drilling the moves is a prerequisite for that as well. So that is really what I had to say to you guys. If you see a tutorial, if you see a move and you're like, wow, how is that done? I need to know how to do that. I don't know if I can do it. I am telling you guys, if you have fingers, if you have working fingers, if you can do things with your fingers, if you can type on a keyboard, if you can cut something with a knife in your kitchen, you can flip a balisong and you can do it all. This is such an accessible, I don't know if that's the right word, but anyone can do this hobby. You do not need to be a bodybuilder. You do not need to be a mega genius. You just need to be someone who is believing in themselves and then putting in the time. And that's my message to you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you give that combo, you give that move that you've been scared of a try, and you put some hours into it, and you get it done, and you come back to me and say, man, that shit was easy. Lightweight, baby. Satch forever, guys. Peace out.